we've got some boys in the background playing games, so forget the background noise. How is everybody? We just got back from basketball practice. This is going to be one heck of a season. I am so excited. I'm so excited. You know, guys, one big thing that I've learned, and it's just been through trial and error, I guess, maybe, and God. I had a deep, um, I don't know, a gut instinct, maybe, I guess, telling me that I had to put my kids in sports. It was just the only way with two boys that are very, very close in age. They're 9.5 months apart. They're Irish twins, real Irish twins. And, you know, they've got a dad, but he lives in another state. And so they only get to see him every once in a while. That is not the same as having a father in the home be a dad. And, you know, our kids need that no matter how much we want to say, you know, we can do it. We don't need nobody. We can do it all by ourselves. Well, I'm proof of that. Yes, we can. We can do it all by ourselves. But man, I don't want to. I don't want to wear the pants. I have to. I was forced to. Um, you know. So anyway, I didn't mean to get off on that tangent. I just think that prevention, sports, putting kids in sports, you know, so many of us got caught in the opioid crisis. I didn't have a mom and dad that would take me to ball practice and dressed me up in little great big old bows. And, you know, you guys have met Sweet Tater. She ain't a big bow girl mom kind of girl mom. I didn't have big red bows in my hair, and nobody was putting me in little cheerleader outfits and taking me to the school. And, you know, she wasn't one of the ball mom or cheerleader moms or ball moms. That just wasn't my mom. She was going to ballroom dancing classes, and you know, she was in school and she was just doing things that she was doing. And so I, as a only child, pretty much, um, I went to those things with her. So I wasn't around a whole bunch of kids. I was around adults all the time. I didn't really learn those social skills as a child, you know. And that ends up happening to a lot of kids, regardless of what the circumstances are. Even if they've got 10 brothers and sisters and they're the oldest and they're the ones that are forced into adult situations, you've got others who were sexually abused as children, who were forced to be performing wife duties as young children under 10 years old. You know, regardless of the circumstance, when children are forced, for, you know, doesn't matter whether it's good or bad, doesn't matter, the child still, it doesn't develop those skills, the social skills that they need to then develop a normal, you know, psyche, and just being able to survive in society socially, because all that stuff goes with us whenever we go to get a job or, you know, anything else in life. And so I see a big change in the generation that I grew up in, being in the addiction. You know, addiction just kind of consumed all of us. Um, I guess, or what are we? Generation X, I think is what we are. And it kind of took in each generation after and before us as well. It at least affected it greatly. Now, these young kids, mine are 14 and 15, these young kids, or at least mine, and even the ones that mine play with, you know, they've got better heads on their shoulders. We've got a great coaching team at Jenkins, an absolutely wonderful coaching team. My kids were like the youngest of the bunch that came in when Coach E came to Jenkins and started his basketball program. And it has grown and grown and grown every year. And so now mine are in 7th and 8th grade, getting ready. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful thing to see these kids go from one sport to the next, to the next, to the next. And they just rotate all year, every year. And they're all friends. They're all a big group of friends. And they all follow each other in these sports. And it's really been an amazing thing for me. I guess like living vicariously through my kids. It was something that I wasn't never able to do. So now being able to do that as a parent, you know, and it takes a lot. Kids have to have a parent that will at least wash their clothes, make sure that they get to practice, make sure they've got a ride home, ball games, stuff like that. And, you know, even the kids whose parents don't go, honey, we pick them up and take them home on the way and from. I just think that we really, really, really should focus a lot more on prevention. Put all this money that they're sinking into these people's pockets in the rehab and the treatment, all this money that they're wasting in the counseling, all that BS counseling that they're doing. Why don't they stick that into these ball programs with these kids? And if they focused more on the prevention of it, we might have more success. Anyway, all right, let me jump off of that real fast. So, witches, smecks, magic. Can you believe it? Witches, smecks, magic. And what else did I put on there? And what? Well, let's just look at something. All right. It's been a long time since I went wandering back into the hellish mountains of Letcher County, Kentucky. But since Halloween's right around the corner, I figured tonight we'd take a little trip. Not the kind that takes GPS, but the kind that sneaks up on your soul. Now, what I'm about to tell you came to me from someone who claims they were there long before TikTok and Facebook groups, back when whispers and cigarette smoke were the only social networks you needed. They said that Letcher County used to be alive. The 1980s were wild. Neon lights, cold beer, and the kind of secrets you can't file a public records request for. The county officials had a private getaway they called the Pad. Wall-to-wall mirrors, a bar in the back, and a don't ask, don't tell policy before the phrase even existed. But what makes this story more spine-tingling isn't the politics, it's the occult. See, around that time, a stranger returned home. A man tied to something called the Gwendoic order. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Gwendoic order. Sounds made up though, right? But apparently, there was once a website, an entire online archive about this mystical organization right here in Whitesburg, Kentucky. Poof! It's all gone now. Wiped clean like it never even existed. Now, this man founded something called the College of Anu, a so-called school of magic. Imagine Hogwarts, but in Appalachia. The hillbilly Hogwarts, y'all. Can you imagine what hillbilly comics are getting ready to come up with? Teaching Druid rituals, Irish lore, and all kinds of mystical mumbo jumbo.